Welcome to MonoTown's December LEGO City update. Fair warning, this is about the messiest the LEGO room has ever been. We have sets and buildings strewn all over the city, and the reason is that if you've been following us much over the past few months, you'll know that we put on 3 different live concerts that were performed on 2 different stages. We'll start with the main stage on MonoTown's southern West End. You can see that some of the ads are still up. We've got the MonoTownTV helicopter on top. The grounds are a bit ripped up, but we still have the containers that acted as a view block during the broadcast over here on the right hand side to prevent you from being able to see some of the shelves and other mess behind when we were filming. And if you think the wires on the floor right now are bad, you should have seen it while we were filming. So the stage is built out from the counter actually and is held up by this super sturdy, very, very safe contraption of Lego boxes. And you can also see where we had to remove a lot of the streets and the buildings that would normally go here on the West End that we built on stream a couple months back. So moving behind the stage, this is where the projector would go and beam onto the screens that are just white copy paper. And that's the MonoTown Hospital, which is in its normal spot, which had to be moved to accommodate the projector. These are our city streets that have the embedded tram line that we put together a couple of months back, and I'm really liking how that turned out. And you can see here, moving across to the seawall, we have Ninjago City with a little bit of lighting that we put in. You can't see those wires when it's dark, but we obviously have to redo that when the lights are on. And behind the scenes, the seawall is right now propped up by Lego boxes, but in the future that will be built out with Duplo. As you can kind of see, Ninjago City is the first candidate to be perched up there. This is the docks, which is not the final position. It'll be connected to Ninjago City, but we thought it looked better for the concert streams. Now we're going to head back to the West End, which is the more affluent section of MonoTown. This is normally where the Sanctum Sanctorum would go. The tram line would disappear into it and then start its curve back to the north side of town. Looking back towards the West End, you can see the L is still unfinished, and we're going to change that to a double track 12 volt line. But as we swing around here, we've got a lot of buildings, some skyscrapers, we have the temple, and the whole thing is built up because this was the second stage for the third Halloween show that we put on Halloween. And I really liked the way that this turned out. That's the stage for the performers and the screens, and Diagon Alley was basically used to be the MonoTown Old Town, which I thought worked really, really well. And then we did a view block on the left-hand side with the Sanctum Sanctorum at an angle, which I really liked. And this whole area was just a fantastic build, I thought. But the real key was that as you turn back to the right, that skyline of the mountain behind the Diagon Alley buildings was something that I just really, really liked. And so the plan right now is we're going to build up that mountain and have skyscrapers and buildings and narrow winding streets all over that on the southwest end of MonoTown. And we will be putting the roller coaster right there underneath the mountain because it's the only way we'll be able to fit the roller coaster. So the tram track will then run out and around into this kind of square area, which I'm hoping to preserve. We'll have to move buildings around because, as you can see zooming out, we're on a temporary piece of plywood that again is hanging off the normal table that we did just to make sure we could fit everything in for the concert. So moving back to the north end of the city, you can see where the projector was placed for the second show. We had to do a little bit of moving around at the L, and this whole area with the L and the sky dock and the streets is all going to need to be rebuilt. And we've got to replace the streets anyway because the trams and the tiled streets are going to go in. You can see here where that's where the projector was projecting onto the screen. But all these streets will need to get redone, and the elevated railway will also be converted to a double track 12-volt line, which I'm looking forward to. And if you have been following the stream, you'll notice that, or you'll know that Monkey Kid's secret hideout is too wide for the sky dock, and so we were going to rebuild that anyway. But looking through, we're also going to replace this last street area and this curve because it just doesn't look super compelling. It's going to be hard to get details in there, and I'd like the space for a few more buildings. So we're going to rip that out, clear that those roads, and replace it with space for modulars or buildings. And I think it'll look much better. And the train tracks, both upper and lower levels, will just continue on through the seawall and then do the curve underneath the sea. So I think that will just, this is just kind of a dead zone. There's nothing really going on, and we can make it look a lot better in my view. And then back behind the seawall, you can see here it's just a mess, but we've got a lot of building to do to prop up the sea and also get rid of that street that is just not doing much for us. So it means that all the train lines will have a piece that is hidden that the trains will run through. And I kind of like that because it provides a bit more variety, and it also makes the train run seem longer. So again, moving back, we'll probably need to move the haunted house. I don't think that'll be its final spot. And the main core of the city will be unchanged, but we did buy another birch book set that we may build those buildings up. And I'm going to swap the position of the gas station with the bank and probably build the bank up as well, because the gas station is just a bit off from the Emporium. It just looks a bit weird from that angle. So all of that area and what we're looking at right now will need to be rebuilt. So there's a lot that's going to happen, but first things first is to get the roller coaster done and see if we can position it to make sense to be the starting point to hold up that mountain. So a lot of work to do, but I'm really happy with the ideas that have come out from the two concerts that we put on. I think that it'll look really, really good, and when we kind of get the level of the mountain up to about where my hand is right there, it's going to be quite dramatic when you see the height differential, and we'll need to get creative for how we kind of wind some roads up and down. But that's where the inspiration for MonoTown coming from cities like Hong Kong and Beirut will be pretty beneficial. Be some good pedestrian access right here. We'll just have to really see how that goes. But all in all, plenty to do. Lots of building that will need to be done there. So you can see the tram line will have to come from that point, curve around, move underneath the mountain, come out here on the city square. This will be cobbled, and so that curve will hopefully look fairly decent. And then the train will head back to the east side of MonoTown on the north end. Swinging up to see the final overall shot, you can kind of get the idea that over half the city is still under really heavy construction, so there's plenty to do still. And if you'd like to join in with us as we build MonoTown live, check us out on Twitch. We'd love to see you there. Thanks a lot for watching.